Sim racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was always fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos or danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all will be kept in the pits.
Good evening and welcome on this Friday afternoon for a special event here on RaceSpotTV. We have coming to you the Sim Racers for Mental Health Winter Derby. Going to be doing some battling in modifieds around South Boston here in the United States. Of course, up here in Boston, this racetrack very, very prevalent in the history of American short track racing. We'll take a look at some of your track details. 0.367 miles in length. That sounds a lot like 3/8 of a mile to me. And it's an iconic racetrack in Boston. You can almost argue in some ways that it is the home short track to iRacing, them being a Boston-based company and themselves being in Boston. So Sim Racers for Mental Health been very active on the sim recently and putting on a special event here. It's going to be a great show for everybody. This is what we're going to have on tap for you today as we get ready to bring you the action that'll be starting here in just a couple of moments. It's going to be a relatively exciting show as we look at the event format. Heat racing is getting ready to kick off right now. Qualifying has just wrapped up. We're going to have a couple of qualifiers. Those are going to be 18 laps in duration. Then we're going to be directly into the feature event. There is not going to be any last chance qualifiers. And speaking of those heat races, they're getting ready to get themselves grid up right now. So let's go down the starting grid for the first of what will be 2 heat races here today. So on the inside of your front row, it's going to be Brad Carpenter on heat race number 1 with River Hayes starting on the outside of that front row. Keenan Burr and William Kruska will make up row number 2 with Jamie Dobbs and Broderick Whitman on row number 3. Ty Marasco and Zach Slanicki is going to make up the 8-car heat for heat race number 1, So 8 cars in total, 18 laps. Going to be exciting. We have 15 cars, that have turned up for the show this evening. So these guys are going to be setting the grid here. Should be an exciting night of action. All in all, a couple of 18-lap heat races, and then an 80-lap main event to cap off the night as your grid is going to get rolling here in just a couple of moments. Hope everyone is doing absolutely fantastic on this Friday. It's been a stressful one for me, to say the least, but the field will be getting themselves rolled off here for heat race number 1. Qualifying was relatively close. The entirety of the field down in the, I'll say, high, mid to low 14s. Quick time tonight with a 13.877. put in by that lime green and purple car in the center of your screen. That is Brad Carpenter. 13.877 is what he managed in time trials. Slowest time with a 14.086. So the entire field within about 0.2 of a second should make things exciting as drivers come to an end on their first of their 2 observation laps. Second observation lap coming up here. And then we will be green as they work down the front straightaway. We get ready to let these modifieds loose for heat race number 1. Why don't we ride on board with this race start with a 3rd place starter? This is going to be Keenan Burr. Watch that iRacing safety car. It comes down on towards pit road. We wait. Green flag is out. Heat race number 1 is green and rolling in towards turn 1 and 2 for the first time. Side by side for second. Brad Carpenter out to an early lead down the back straightaway. In towards 3 and 4, still wheel to wheel for that second spot. The 15 of River Hayes and Keenan Burr. The end of lap number 1, it's going to be the 15 up top with the preferred line, and he's got the spot nearly clear as he works off of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. In towards 3 and 4 right now. The whole field getting themselves single filed out. 1 and 2, they work lap number 3 and down the back straightaway. All your race leaders pretty much single filing out. Entire field single filing out. Fight for dead last on the racetrack is kicking up, though. The 44 of Zach Stanicki. Big send up the top side of the racetrack in 3 and 4. Down towards 1 and 2. Once again, he will go, and the whole field starts single filing out and stringing out once again. 6 and the 94. That's Keenan Burr and William Kruska. Keenan holds the 3rd spot right now as they all off of turn number 4 and down that back straightaway. The 6 trying to get the spot up top, but just can't quite get it done. Now the 77 of Jamie Dobbs trying to take advantage of that. He ducks a nose inside. So coming off this next corner, and big wiggle for the 6 car of William Kruska. That's going to lose him a handful of spots there immediately. Still trying to roll the bottom side of the racetrack, and now he's going to have to fend off the 68. That's Broderick Whitman there, who's going to be as opportunistic as he can. With that mistake coming from the 6 car, the 6 has been quick, but that's not a great mistake for him to be making here. Going to be stacking him up here as we're nearly halfway through heat race number 1. So in towards turns number 3 and 4 once again. 68 of Broderick not quite able to keep up with that 6 of William Kruska. William, we know, was quick. Definitely had good speed in that number 6. Just made that one mistake, got a little bit loose coming off one of the corners, and that was pretty much all she wrote on that effort. So let's see, down and off the corner once again. I think I heard that 6 car get tight that time and was well out of the throttle. We'll go to some onboard shots so you really see these drivers work and what they're dealing with. See a little bit of glare coming off the air cleaner there outside of the driver's vision and down this back straightaway. Very narrow racetrack here at South Boston, very short as well. Most of the short tracks on the sim are about half mile in length, this one being 3/8 of a mile. It makes for very short sprints down the back straightaways, down all the straightaways and into the corners here. Fight stacking up a little bit though for second. This is River Hayes and Keenan Burr. 0.2 of a second separates them as they work around the racetrack and down the back straightaway. You see them about a car length between the 2 of them. Right up to the back of the 15. Pulls Keenan Burr. Not quite able to get close enough though, but a bump and run maybe in the cards here. So through 3 and 4, the 15 car down to the bottom side of the racetrack trying to defend. They're going to make a little bit of contact. Loses Keenan Burr in towards turn 1, and that's probably going to take that fight to a close. But the fight now for 3rd place and 4th place, is going to be what gets fought over here. The 77 of Jamie Dobbs fighting with Keenan Burr for that 3rd spot, trying to get it here as they work off of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. Popsicle sticks will be in the air this coming lap. So 2 laps to go for these drivers to get themselves in starting positions for your 80-lap feature a little bit later tonight. White flag this time off of turn 4, and it's still Brad Carpenter leading this race as they work around the racetrack. The 31 of Brad Carpenter with a comfortable gap over the entire rest of the field. He'll come off turn number 4, and he is going to win heat race number 1 here in your Sim Racers for Mental Health Winter Derby at South Boston, representing some modified racing. We'll take a look at your post-race results. Brad Carpenter with the victory. River Hayes second. Keenan Burr, Jamie Dobbs rounding out the field in that one. And then William Kruska, Broderick Whitman, Zach Staniski, and Ty Murasako will close out the field. So that was your first heat race on the evening. Let's take a look at what's going to be your starting grid for the second one here. Your second quickest driver on the night, Jared Mogard, put in a very, very quick time in qualifying. He'll start on the inside of that front row. You see the field's already rolling off. Matt Johnson's going to make up the second spot. Jody Banfield and Steve Costley will make up row number 2 with Ken Zeems and Jeffrey McConey on row number 3. And then it'll be the 9 of Steven Zims rounding out the entire field of cars here. Jared Mogard in the 00. He's that all white car you see on the screen there. White car, white numbers means that you don't get any reference, but it is all white. So nice and pearly is what we'll say that car looks like as the field works down the front straightaway for their second pace lap, and we'll be getting let go here when we eventually go back to Green Flag Racing. Once again, 18-lap heat races. We have a pair of them. Then these guys should be directly into your 80-lap main event. Look for that iRacing safety car to get sent down to the safety of pit road, and Jared Mogard will be unleashed on this field off of turn 4, the 00 in command, and we are green. Side by side, 45 in the 00 fighting for that lead spot through turns number 1 and 2. It's going to go to the 00 of Mogard. Matt Johnson. Now, can he hold on to second? The 12 of Jody Banfield. He shows the nose up the inside and gets wheel to wheel for second. 2 by 2 for second, third, fourth, and fifth through 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. It's going to be the 45 into the outside wall of Matthew Johnston. He's going to lose He's going to lose the second spot, and he is very, very likely that he might lose more. So these guys work off the corner and down the straight back in towards 3 and 4. We're going to bring in RaceSpot commentator number 2. Oh, it spun around. It's the 45 of Matt Johnson. Big incident there. We'll show a replay of this first, but Matt Johnson going to go from running third out there on the racetrack to well and truly down your running order here, as we'll bring the onboard camera up for this replay. And off of turn 4, you're going to see it here in about one lap's time. He's just going to get tagged, and not much he can really do about this one. Off of turn number 4. Rewound the cameras a little bit too far back. There it is. There's that little bit of a tag that sends him around, and that car ends up facing the wrong way. We'll go back to your fight up near the head of the field. Gap between your race leaders, half a second. Jared Mogard starting to check out just a little bit. Fight now, 3/10 between third and fourth as we bring in Dennis Foley. The 90 car of Ken Zeems, part of this fight that you see on screen right now. A couple of drivers all over each other. It's the 24 of Jeff McCroney, and you have the 9 of Steven Sims there in the mix as well. And that 9 car cross start finish trying to reel in that 24. Remember, where you finish in the heats will dictate where you start in the events a little bit later on in the race once we get to that feature event. Halfway this time in heat race number 2. The driver will be seeing the cross flags, knowing that it's 9 laps down, 9 laps to go. Relatively quick sprints are these heat races, but it's going to be a long, long one for these guys in the main event, nearly side by side between these two coming off the corner. Steven Sims really had to check up and get out of it to hold on to that thing. Knock it into the back of the 24, and he's going to lose that car again and lose all sorts of ground here. So gap starting to stretch out here in your mid-pack. We'll take a look at your race leader, Jared Mogard. The 00, that's not his number. That's just the color code for his paint scheme, all zeros. It's coming up on now 6 laps to go this time as they work across start finish. And very quickly here, what's going to be just a 14-second trip around the racetrack, they'll be seeing 5 laps to go in heat race number 2. Everything's relatively spread out, spread a little bit thin here, nothing too tightly contested in this second heat. But anything can happen. We saw that last time. 0.3 of a second is what this fight's dropped down to, though, because Jeffrey McConey in the 24, he might have something for that number 90 of Ken Ziens here late in this second heat race. 3 laps to go is what they're coming up on in the 24. Jeffrey McConey wants that 3rd spot, but does he have enough time? The gap has stabilized a little bit, just sitting there 0.3 of a second. Through the corner, 2 laps to go is what they're about to see. The 24 hooks up the apron, nice. He's gonna have a good run down on the bottom side of the racetrack. He is there. Is there gonna be a bit of a chrome horn moment in these closing laps? Final lap is what it's gonna be this time off of turn number 4. Jared Mogard, he leads by 0.8 of a second, but this is the fight we're gonna watch. Through 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. The 24 has lost a little bit of ground in towards 3 and 4. He won't be anywhere near close enough. And Jared Mogard is going to win heat race number 2. Post-race results coming up on screen now. Jody Banfield will finish 2nd. Ken Ziens in 3rd. Jeffrey McConey in 4th. With Steven Sims, Steve Consley, and Matt Johnston rounding out the tail end of the field here in heat race number 2. Drivers now setting up for a 5-minute warm-up before we go to the main event here in just a couple of moments' time. 5 minutes of hot laps for these guys to work and prep on their race cars. While that happens, we will take a short break here on RaceSpotTV, so do not go away. The main event for what is going to be your Sim Racers for Mental Health Winter Derby is going to be coming at you in just a couple moments' time.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was always fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos or danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all will be kept in the pits. Not to mention that with members in over 130 countries already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series and work your way up to one of 7 world championships, offering over $500,000 in prize money. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Hot laps draw to a close here at South Boston, and the 80 lap feature event for the Sim Racers for Mental Health Winter Derby is going to be coming at you right here, right now. Let's take a look at the starting grid for your feature, and it's going to be the driver of the number 31, Brad Carpenter, on pole position. On the outside, it's going to be Jared Mogard. River Hayes and Jody Banfield is going to make up row number 2, with Keenan Burr and Ken Zeen on row number 3. Jamie Dobbs and Jeffrey McConey will make up row 4. Row 5 being William Kruska and Steven Sims. Row number 6 is going to be Broderick Whitman and Steve Costley. Row 7, Scott Nicky, I believe is how that's pronounced, Matt Johnson. Thank you for that, Scott, throwing that in the YouTube chat for me. And Ty Marasco will round out your 15-car field. So 80 laps around South Boston here is going to go by really quickly. Lap times are in about the 14 second bracket. So these laps are going to count off mighty quickly at the rate of about 4 a minute. Do a little bit of quick math, which is always dangerous when I'm the one running the numbers, and that's going to put potential run time out at about 20 minutes for this feature race. But your top two, Brad Carpenter, that bright number 31, the 00 of Jared Mogard, and a very creatively liveried modified. They're going to be the two, bringing us to green flag racing here in one more lap around the speedway. And they're going to be a lot of fun to watch. They were very close in qualifying. Only 8 1/1000ths separated your top two. River Hayes with only a further 5/1000ths of a second back. A couple hundredths more back to the other runners. We are green here at South Boston. Fight is on for the race lead around the outside. The 00 of Jared Mogard is going to go. He's got the spot. And in towards 3 and 4, chops the nose. Off the 31 of Brad Carpenter. Great start out there for the outside pole sitters. We got a caution here early. Cars stacked up somewhere. Looks like the 12 of Jody Banfield may be involved. We'll take a look at the replay, and looks like that's where it may have started. We'll rewind the cameras back a little bit further. This goes all the way back to the start of this thing. You see him fighting with the number 94 there down on the inside. That's Keenan Burr. So your 12 car Jody Banfield started fourth. A little bit of a tap there with the 15, and that's pretty much all she wrote on that one. A couple big hits there, and you see there's the big stack up of the whole field coming off the corner. And now a couple cars will go on down towards pit road to get themselves repaired. So green and then out to yellow here early in your main event. Drivers with tons of hope. Likely going to be stuck down on the wrong side of the garage wall for a while. But Jared Mogard, what a start for this driver. Saw him pretty much run away with his heat race. No one really had anything for him. Gets out there to an early lead, and then he comes outside pole of the feature event, just jumps it, gets on it, perfectly timing the start. And I'm going to be honest with you, that's one of the best starts I have seen in a long time. Just being able to time that the way he did, and being able to take that outside position and take the race lead away as the lights are out on the iRacing safety car. And with 5 laps scored complete, working lap 5 coming to lap 6, we'll be going to green with 75 laps to go. So now, can Brad Carpenter maybe do what Jared Mogard maybe managed to do and pick up the spot the long way around on the outside? Green flag is out. The answer is going to be no. Jared Mogard too good. Get to the throttle. Brad Carpenter now at risk of losing the second spot. Fighting with the 15 of River Hayes, but look at the run up top. Brad Carpenter is going to be too strong on the high end of the racetrack. He'll take that second spot away, or will he? The 15 was real good on the bottom of 3 and 4, but clear is the 31 out Brad Carpenter. River Hayes settles into third. Keenan Burr into fourth. The 6th, William Kruska in the 5th spot. Look at this gaggle of cars. Jeffrey McConey, Steven Sims, Broderick Whitman, Zach Stanicki, all a part of this fight. You see the 9 of Steven Sims lurking as we got another caution. Who's that slow down on the bottom side of the racetrack? 68 of Broderick Whitman. some sort of trouble. May have had a secondary incident as well, but see the 44 and the 68, they just get collected there. The 44 took a big shot. Kind of let that car coast for a long time, if I'm honest. Yeah, that's a rookie mistake right there from Zach. We'll kind of watch this on board once again, and you'll see the big hit here coming at him in just a couple of moments. And then he makes a mistake that you never want to make here. He gets turned, and then he starts rolling, and he needs to be on the brakes. This entire time he needs to be stopping the race car, and he doesn't. Tries to cut it down to the apron, and bang, there is another hit there. I was waiting for the audio cue, but it never came. We'll rewind the cameras back a little bit further so you can believe me. But right there, actually it was a lighter hit than I thought, but actually right on board with that for the 68 car of broader equipment. You can see exactly how quick he came up on him. A little bit too far back, not far, but that's why whenever you can, you want to get that car stopped as quickly as you can, and you just want to hold that brake pedal. Now, a lot of times it's people's first instinct to try to save the car, but generally speaking, once you get the car stopped, you're taking all the guesswork out of it for your fellow competitors. Instead of having to worry about where you're going to be, they know where you are and how to get around you. As lights, I believe, should be going out on the safety car this time through. Nope, we're going to get one more pace lap before we go back to green flag racing. So a couple quick cautions here in this opening 10-lap salvo. But still, laps are going to be ticking off oh so quickly around this place, as we've seen all night. Already 12 laps complete. We've only been running for about 4 minutes. And with a couple cautions thrown into the mix there, that's actually pretty quick. If this was a caution lap at Daytona, we'd only been through turn 2 by now, but lights are out on the iRacing pace car, so we'll be back to green flag racing in about 30 seconds. And Jared Mogard, he had a great initial jump to start the race. Went from second to first in turn 1 and 2. Then the first restart, he just timed it perfectly, went unchallenged. Can Brad Carpenter do something about it? Through turns 3 and 4, that white 00 will be back in command of the field. And again, he's on it early, and he is clear. Light bulbs flashing in the stands, and in towards 1 and 2 for the 14's time, the 15 and the 31. They're going to be wheel to wheel down the back straightaway, and in towards 3 and 4. The 15 of River Hayes fighting down there on the bottom with the 31 of Brad Carpenter. Getting good speed down there on the bottom, but Brad up top is just too good, and they're going to go back to yellow again. Oh, big pile up back here. What in the world happened to these gentlemen? We'll send the cameras back and we'll take a peek for ourselves. And cameras are pointing right now at the 77 of Jamie Dobbs, and there was the incident right there. We'll take 10 seconds out of the camera and watch it again. You see, there it is, that 9 car Steven Sims just fighting hard back there. Someone ends up popping a motor, and that's going to be day done for that driver. So big hit there, just fighting amongst themselves, and sometimes that's about all you can do. But definitely for those guys, not how they would have wanted their evenings, especially inside of the first quarter of the race. See a couple drivers onto and off of pit road, just trying to get any repairs on the race cars that they can get. Zach Stanicki is going to get waved around the pace car, so he'll be getting a lap back. He, I believe, will be, I think, officially the wave around driver. Steven Sims would technically be your lucky dog, but he's the one who caused the caution. So the 44 going to get waved around. There goes that 44 of Zach Stanicki. Skudnick. I'm going with Skudnicki. He put it in the chat how to pronounce it, I'm not going to lie, but it's one of those trickier names. Scottnicki, okay. That's going to be a struggle. It's not one that immediately jumps out to you when you see the spelling of it, let's be real. Well, he's not the winner, so that's the first thing that's wrong. But, no, Zach not having a great run of it. Currently 5 laps down. finding this racetrack trickier than his name is to pronounce, but lights are going to go out on the iRacing safety car once again. So third restart of the night getting sprung up on us right here, right now. Mogard has been perfect on these restarts. Let's see if he can continue so. If Brad Carpenter can finally get something to him. Waiting. The 31 slow on the jump again. Green flag back out, and it might be a loss of position for second place for the 31 of Brad Carpenter. Down into the bottom of the corner. And the 31 just gets clear. He's going to hold on to second. Whole field now starting to spring themselves out. 94, Keenan Burr holding on in that middle of the race, in the middle of that fight, and I don't see too many side-by-side fights. I think these guys are getting themselves strung out here early on this restart, which is good to see. They'd been, oh, nope, what in the world happened here? We're green. Something happened to the 13 car. Couldn't tell what it was on that camera, but we'll hit the rewind button. We'll see what in the world happened to Ty Morosco. What happened there? I'd completely missed that one. Was that William Kruska who went around? That looks like exactly who it was. What happened in this one to the 6? Sim Racers for Mental Health car. Just got loose and got tagged from the back. Not much anything William could do with that one. So one of our drivers out there near the head of the field gets dumped and working off the straightaway, the 15 of River Hayes. This racetrack's starting to get tricky. You watch that 15 car. Big wiggle for them as they went through. So River Hayes now, see if he can manage that race car that everyone seems to be struggling with at the moment. Look at this line of cars right here. Starts with Jeffrey McConey in the 24, Ken Ziens in the 90, Jody Banfield in the 12, Matthew Johnson in the 45. Also have Ty Morosco, I think, back here as well as ED in the 13. So all these guys lined up nose to tail, bit of a checkup, and somehow no one's going to get turned. I thought surely we'd see the 90 go around, but the 12 and Jody Banfield able to take that spot away. Now side by side behind him, Ken Ziens and Matt Johnston, a little bit of contact. They're going to get it somewhat. Actually, no, they're not going to get it sorted. The 76 and the 90. They're both stopped out here on the racetrack, and caution is going to fly. So drama for these guys. I thought I saw a race car going around, but as quickly as they got out of frame, I was like, oh, they just sort of got it figured out. Let's see exactly what happened here. And well, the 90, Ken Ziens, just kind of got sent up the racetrack by that driver down underneath them. We'll go with the roll bar shot again. You can kind of see not much I think Ken Ziens could have really done here. And he just sort of gets tagged off of turn 2, and pretty much all she wrote. That's a big, big hit for a modified to take. Suspension is going to be toast on that race car. You see the number 6 getting the wave around. It's William Kruska. Trying to get some of these lap guys back on the lead lap. Now remember, if I said if we go green, we'd be looking at about a 20-minute run time. This trip around the racetrack, we're going to be at 12 minutes, and we're nearly halfway. And that includes a couple of, a few yellow flags now. So these laps really do tick off quickly. 3/8 mile racetrack, so fast. Average speed so high for how short the lap is here. It's actually a little bit weird, this being a rarity on the iRacing service, being 3/8 of a mile. At least where I'm from, out here on the West Coast in Southern California, most of the paved oval tracks I grew up around, well, actually most of the oval tracks I grew up around were 3/8 mile. The old local track here that unfortunately now, about 15 years ago, got torn out, Cajon Speedway, that was a 3/8 mile paved track. The big dirt oval that we have down here in Southern California, Paris Auto Speedway, that's a 3/8 mile dirt track. So I'm kind of used to the 3/8 mile dimension, I'll say, for oval racing. But we don't have too many of them here on the iRacing service, but this is definitely one of them. Of course, South Boston, one of those tracks that gets a ton of love in the lower level series. When you're coming up, you kind of start running around this place when you're in the Legends and step up into the street stocks and the late models. To be honest, it's been so long since I've done a ton of asphalt racing. I don't think I've run this place in about 5 years, which feels weird to say, but regardless, lights are out in the safety car. We're about to be back to green flag racing. Keenan Burr will now have the second spot. Brad Carpenter is falling back to fourth. And on it goes Jared Mogard. Back to green flag racing in towards 1 and 2. With coming towards 55 laps to go next time by. Fight is nearly on between the 13 and the 15 for fourth and fifth. Up the inside, River Hayes. He scared that 13 car off the corner and down to the bottom. He's going to have the spot. Great move there by Ty Marasco. River Hayes, he got scared, went way up the racetrack, and he lost out because of it. Now behind the 12 car of Jody Banfield. Remember, he started fourth, got caught up in an incident early. He's trying to run his way back through the field. That 12 car is the last car on the lead lap at the moment. The cars you see behind him are 1 lap down. That's William Kruzka and Matthew Johnson, I believe. Race lead, though, timing up the 94 of Keaton Burr. May not have the speed on the initial restart, but give him a couple laps. That Red Bull-themed car just comes up to speed. Gap down to 0.2 of a second, nearly even. Last trip around the racetrack. Took 2 more hundredths of a second off that 0-0 of Jared Mogard. And right up to the rear bumper, the 94 is trying to pull. Halfway now in this race, 40 laps complete. They work lap number 41. Gap 0.174. Telling you right now, if Jared decided to, he could ask Keenan to paint that car. He's close enough. Get his brake can out. Get some color on that thing. The 31 of Brad Carpenter, your pole sitter, fell back to fourth. He's back to third now, and he's hunting down and keeping up with these top 2 drivers of Jared Mogard and Keenan Burr, but River Hayes is not letting the entire trio in front of him go. A little bit up high for Keenan Burr off the corner. Thought maybe Carpenter might be able to take advantage, but another mistake for the 94. On a couple different lines here. This is one of those progressively banked racetracks, I do believe, so maybe that middle line kind of set the the right side tires up there and help that car rotate. Through the center of the corner and off. Gap starting to open back up in favor of Jared Mogard. Half a second nearly is what the margin is right now. Remember, that was down to about 0.2 of a second as Brad Carpenter, I think, feels like he's starting to get checked up. He kind of showed the nose down the straightaway and off the corner. He's trying to get down there but can't quite make the move stick. Door slammed on him by the 94. We say Red Bull gives you wings, and as many times as we've seen that 94 on this short run up the racetrack, I wouldn't doubt it. Now you see Keenan Burr, maybe the tires just going away on that race car. And still back down to the bottom, you see brakes glowing on that 31, and big incident for the 31. Brad Carpenter, I think he did that all by himself. Caution will wave once again. Just shy of 30 laps to go, and what in the world happened here? And I think he did it alone. I think he just spun up those rear tires. We've seen a couple of drivers struggling with the oversteer recently, and I think the 31 of Brad Carpenter, your pole sitter, is the most recent victim of it. And I think he just caught the apron wrong. That he picked up the throttle, didn't have the opportunity to save that race car. And then not much he could have done after that. Wave rounds going through. That's Scott Nicky getting waved around once again. Also see the 44 car getting sent by. Broderick Whitman and Zach Scott-Nicky, a couple of cars. So they're not just doing a single lucky dog system here. They're trying to keep as many guys on the lead lap as they can. So one car coming down on towards pit road. This race is long enough you might consider a pit stop. I am, in all honesty, not a modified aficionado, so not sure what pit time looks like in one of these cars. I mean, it's a very, very quick pace lap. Only 33 seconds to go around this 3/8 mile racetrack under yellow. So if you do decide to pit, if this ends up being one of those, I know a lot of the lower level oval cars, I know the late models and some of the others, it's not like a straight up 14-second stop like it would be with a Cup car or any of the other higher level cars for that matter, the Xfinity car, the truck, the Indy car if you want to go ultra speed. I know that oftentimes they'll kind of simulate it being a lower level organization, may not have that dialed down, and of course the car is maybe not as designed to have super quick pit stops either. Let's see, light should be going out here soon. And there they go. And actually, Jared Mogard going to choose the outside line. Seen him do this a number of times already. Even seen him on both ends of the racetrack, to be honest. Of course, Firefox Gamer mentioned it. Can't forget about the Race of Champions putting this event on as well. Green flag back out. Jared Mogard blitzes the field. Keenan Burr in second. River Hayes going to settle in towards third. The 24 of Jeffrey McConey and Matt Johnson. They're going to be the first fight you have side by side. Fourth and fifth of the racetrack. 45 pushes up a little bit, scares the 24 up there, and Matt Johnson can't quite get clear. I lied. Yes, he can. Chops the nose off that 24 car. Move him up into the fourth spot. The sixth, though, of William Kruska trying to cruise on through. He still finds himself a lap down as we approach 20 laps to go in your Sim Racers for Mental Health Winter Derby presented by the Race of Champions. Oh, the 94 was very close to Jared Mogard. Got loose off the corner. Now you see the 15 of River Hayes trying to fight by on the outside. He's got the run. One little mistake. We've seen it all night is all you really need to make the move around this place, and it just bit the 15 of River Hayes. Moved Keenan Burr. Moved the 15 of River Hayes up into P2. See in the chat, these cars are indeed actually quite a bit different to drive. Some of the fastest asphalt machines that you will get until you start stepping up in the likes of midget sprint cars and modifieds. But as terms as quote-unquote stock cars goes, super modified, modifieds are a ton of fun. Caution back out on the racetrack. See who might have caused this one. 77 was pretty... Oh. There it is, the 24 of Jeffrey McConey. Caught the tail end of the incident there. You see the 6 trying to unlap himself on these guys and able to get by. The 13 kind of trying to follow through there. That was Chai Morosco. And just a little bit too much overlap there. Sends the 24 around. We'll get another look at it. Down the back straightaway, 13 shows the nose, and boop! Around goes the 24. So that's going to slow them down here. One car will come down on towards pit road, and inside 20 laps to go. But yeah, these cars they're definitely a lot of fun to drive. They're definitely a different experience. They're a lot lower slung than most stock cars you might run. They're lighter than most stock cars. A little bit more aerodynamically efficient. I mean, they are open wheel race cars, so they turn a little bit better. They're quicker. Even the lower level style modifieds are going to be quicker than, say, a super late model around most tracks, and that's even with a pretty big horsepower disadvantage. So modified is one of the most popular race cars, not only on the sim, but in all of asphalt racing. There are tons of different levels of modifieds. You got hobby mods and all the way up to These being tour modifieds like you see in the Whelen Modified Tour. These basically have cup engines in them, and these are proper racing machines that you see taking part in that championship. If you're somebody who's not too used to modified racing as well, obviously they're built to a rule set, but like most forms of stock car racing, there is generally a rule set of a certain amount of the car has to incorporate the original car's body style. The way modified racing always was that one part of the car had to be the same as the original car. And car builders back in the day got creative, and that one part they used was the roof. The entire rest of the car would be different. I believe that's a rule that more or less stands to this day. But that said, lights back out on the safety car. Put 15 laps on the board for your sim races for Mental Health Winter Derby, put on by Race of Champions. Green flag, back out, fight for P2 and P3. River Hayes and Keenan Burr are going to duke it out. We saw them come to blows just a little bit ago. Keenan Burr is going to have the spot for now. Back up the inside, though, goes to the 15 of River Hayes. Bold move down to the bottom. The 94 gets loose. They touch. They're going to spin in front of the entire field. We're going to go back to yellow here. But man, oh man, hard racing brings out the caution inside this final 15-lap run. Make the judgment call yourself. Looks like the 94 got loose up top to me. Lost the back end of that race car, and not much either of those drivers could do with that one. So let's see, there it is. There's the wiggle into the other car, and around they go. That's not a comfortable feeling when you're facing the wrong way and you got cars screaming by you on the front or back straightaway here. So back to caution. As these guys will lurk around the racetrack, getting themselves ready, coming in towards the final 10 laps of this run. We'll have to take a peek at how this is going to go as you see cars getting waved by the safety car there. So, in case you guys were wondering, green-white checkered is in effect here. They will have 3 attempts at the GWC. If you're unaware of what that is, if they go over the 80-lap count that you see in the top right, generally speaking, if a caution comes out in the last handful of laps, say it's lap 77, lap 78, caution flies, they'll put more laps on the board, and they will get 3 attempts to get the race in under green flag conditions. And the way that will go is they'll see the restart, they will get the green flag, they will run a lap. Next time by, they will see the white flag. Next time by, they will see the checker. So it's 2 laps of racing. Let's hope we don't have to do that. Let's see if we can log this race in under green through this final 10 or so lap segment. Lights will go out and are no longer illuminated on the top of that Mustang safety car. And who is going to win this one? We've seen that second spot has changed hands a lot. Seen a number of drivers up there. Keenan Burr had it for a while. The 15 of River Hayes owned it. Remember, Brad Carpenter had it pretty much from the start. Right now it's Matt Johnson in second, but the man who's led the whole way, the 00, Jared Mogard, picks it up early. We're back to green. Fight is on for that second spot. The 13 of Timer Osco. He wants that second spot from last on the grid. And oh, behind the 12 of Jody Banfield in front of the field. He's going to get turned. William Cruz gets in it. And upside down, the 68 car in the thick of it as well. That's broader equipment, but what a hit this was. Oh my word, and it was the 94 into the 12. The 94 up the inside. I think the 12 just didn't know he wasn't clear, or thought he was clear. I'm gonna ride on board with that with the roll bar cam. Want to watch the hands. So let's see. Watch Mr. Jody's hands here, and it's hard to tell. It happened so fast. We'll start from the replay. Or excuse me, from the restart. He definitely cuts across the nose there. I don't think there's anything that 94 at Keenan Burr could have done to avoid that one. And that motor is toast. Spewing smoke all over the place. Now, will they get a chance at a restart here? We'll go directly to green-white cautions. You see some guys getting waved around the iRacing safety car. Currently, we have 7 cars out there on the racetrack on the lead lap. Do a bit of a rundown here as they get ready to go back to green flag racing. It's Jared Morgan who lead Let's redo. It's Jared Mogard who leads. Matt Johnson in second. Running third is Ty Morosco. River Hayes fourth, and Jody Banfield will round out your top 5. Jamie Dobbs in 6th. He will be the last car currently on the lead lap. I believe a car may have brought it down to the pit area. Zach Scottnicki in 7th. 8th place is going to be Keenan Burr. The 9th, you have Jeffrey McConey. I believe Keenan's actually the one who's down on pit road, so I think that's the car we lost. William Kruska in 10th. And then Broderick Whitman, Brad Carpenter, Steve Costley, Ken Ziens, and Steven Sims. Not sure what's happening at the moment. Lights are out on the safety car, yes? Yes, they're trying to handle, I think, one last wave around before we go back to green. So this is going to be green-white checkered, 1 of 4, essentially, coming to green with 2 laps to go here in the Sim Racers for Mental Health. Winter Derby presented by Race of Champions, and Jared Mogard is clear. 2 laps to go in this race. Through corners number 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. White flag this time. If they see the white flag, there will not be another attempt to restart the race. And it's going to be official. White flag is out, and this one is going to end it. Through corners number 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. Matt Johnson nowhere near clear. But Jared Mogard, he started second, got the lead early. He will win here in South Boston. What a run for that all-white 00. Didn't spend any time or effort on the paint, spent it all on the racetrack. And it paid off. After 80 laps of racing, he is going to come down here. And I'm sure we'll see some celebrating in a moment. Excuse me. But Jared Mogard, what a run for that driver. Down on towards start finish, and is he gonna burn him down, or is he just gonna park it? This is what you typically see at most of your short tracks, and here we go. He's gonna burn him down. Jared Mogard, a very happy man with that result. Looked unstoppable and untouchable after he got out there in that race lead. And while Jared Mogard burns them down, we are gonna take you down your post-race results. As we said, it's that 00 of Jared Mogard with a big win. Matt Johnson in the second spot, Ty Marasco in third, River Hayes and Jamie Dobbs. They round out your top 5. Zach Scottnicki in the 6th spot, Jody Banfield in 7th, Keenan Burr in 8th, Jeffrey McConey and William Kruska 9th and 10th. And you can see all the drama that picked up there. 6 laps down, 8 laps down, 9 laps down, just 8th, 9th, and 10th. And the lap counter doesn't get nicer the deeper in the field you go. Brad Carpenter, remember, he was your pole sitter. He finishes in the 11th spot, 24 laps off the race lead. Broderick Whitman in the 12th spot, 25 laps off the race lead, with Steve Costley, Ken Ziens, and Steven Sims rounding out the running order. Post-race coming at you right here, right now. And let's get some interviews here going. And we're going to kick the interviews off with the 00. He won this event. Jared Mogard, big win for you. How does that one feel? You didn't start on the pole, but you took the lead early, and you didn't look back from there.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. This is the first race in this car, so it feels pretty good.
We had a couple people actually in the comment section mentioning the fact that the car seemed different, and actually one person was talking about potentially picking it up. It's not a car we see often. We saw it in the Ignite series. Tell me about this modified and how it differs from some of the other cars on the service.
I don't know, it just drives a little bit different. It's a lot of grip and a little bit tighter, and I don't know, just not as loose as your typical oval car. It's different driving style for sure.
And talking about this racetrack, progressive banking, we all know that. We talked about that on the broadcast a little bit. The bottom a little bit more shallow than the top is. It gets a bit steeper as you go up. And we saw a couple lines to get in a run, but we see a lot of cars getting loose off the corners. Is that thing a handful here today?
It wasn't too bad. You just had to be really easy on it and not get full throttle until about halfway down the straightaway. And if you could do that and not get too crazy with the throttle, it wasn't too bad. But you definitely had to be careful with it for sure.
Well, Jared, congratulations on a big win from you. Absolutely splendid performance. And before we let you go, who gets it done for that all-white 00? I think you need a painter.
We got a painter. It must not have loaded up correctly or whatever for you guys, but got to thank I Buy Power Computers, Twitch Racing Reports, all the boys at MOSRN, and you guys for doing the broadcast, and William and everybody for putting it on. It was fun.
There was Jared Mogard with the big win here in that all-white 00. Running in the second spot, it's going to be the number 45 of Matt Johnson, and we're going to kidnap him from one of our channels and move him back up into this one. And Matt, what a run from you. You started deep in this race in 14th out of 15 cars. You get it all the way back up into second. How was that run in that number 45? Seemed like you had it pretty hooked up.
Yeah, well, I'm sore, that's for sure. The car was a little loose. You had to watch your wheel spin. Those last couple of restarts, man, I couldn't do nothing with them. I'm horrible at restarts. I'm sure you could tell that from your point of view. The car just wouldn't go, and man, if I was closer, I'd have had something for him.
And you mentioned about the race cars. I just asked Jared the same question. What makes these cars so difficult and such a handful to drive? I know they got big cup motors underneath them pretty much, and they got a lot of power. But these modifieds, a lot of the people here on RaceSpotTV aren't used to seeing them. Tell me a little bit about what makes this car tick and what makes it so different.
Yeah, for you guys at home, it's like putting a big motor on a little go-kart, pretty much. You got these big tires, and the thing is so light. It's got so much power. It does have grip. But the thing of it is, it has grip that goes away in a hurry. You get on the throttle, you lose your grip, the rear tires spin, and around you go, and that's what you've seen a lot tonight.
Well, congratulations to you, Matt. Good second-place run for you. Before we let you go, who gets it done for that number 45 car, Who gets it to the racetrack every week?
I'd like to thank my partners over at Bottled Up Podcast. They actually told me about this race, come in and got it done. Extreme Sim TV, as always. It's always a good time there as well. So, it's all a lot of fun. Thank you for having me, man. It was fun to go out there and come home with P2.
Hey, we're more than happy to have you, man. It was a lot of fun to watch you out there and watch you work and watch you run through the field. And we hope to see you have a good one and see you in the future here on RaceSpotTV.
You too, sir. Have a good one.
Another driver who followed Matt right through the field. Well, Matt Johnson, he started in the 14th spot, ran to second. This driver started pretty much right next to him and ran his way all the way up to third. Ty Marasco, big night for you as well. We just talked to Matt Johnson, who you started right near to, and you finished right near to. 12 spots gained for both of you guys running through the field. Tell me about your night.
Well, it was a crazy night. A lot of the beginning of the races avoiding a lot of those wrecks in front of us, which me and him both did a very good job, I think, because we both finished 1 or 2, 3, and I think that throughout the race I got faster as the night went down. I think that helped a lot, and I was able to it's a tough place to pass, so I was just methodically trying to work through the field.
We definitely saw that more than one time here tonight, people having to get physical with one another. We saw a lot of cautions because of that. Tell me some of the difficulties of wheeling at this place.
Well, I think it's just it's just a one line track, especially with the modifieds. There ain't no runs on the outside. You're not getting unless on the restarts. The only time you're going to gain spots is on the restarts, and modifieds, not a lot of people drive them around. So you gotta get familiar with them, and I really like them, and I think they produce good racing. And I think it is good racing, but they also produce tight racing, so that comes with cautions. But all in all, I think it was a solid race for most guys up front tonight. That's all I got for that one.
Well, thanks for joining us, Ty, and good run for you, going from 15th up to 3rd. Before we let you go, who gets it done for that number 13 tour mod?
I just like to thank everybody on the racetrack tonight, and everybody that makes me better every day when I go racing. And thank you guys for putting it on, and thanks for willing to put it on as well.
There he was. Ty Marasco rounds out your podium finishers, and last person we are going to have a chat with here before we let you all go is going to be William Kruska, not Williams Kruska. He doesn't run a Formula One team, but William, you're the one who made this event happen and made it all tick. It was relatively drama-filled, but overall a really exciting event to watch.
Give me a second to fix my speaker real quick. Alright, got me now?
Yep, I got you. I had you the whole time. You have me?
Sorry, yeah, I got you now.
Okay, so it was like you're the one, like I said, you're the one who brought us the event here, and it was a drama-filled event, a lot of incidents, but it was a super exciting one for all of us to watch. But overall, a successful event for you guys at Sim Racers for Mental Health and at Race of Champions.
Yeah, it was fun other than, me getting on my roof, but yeah, that was actually kind of fun, surprisingly. I don't usually race these cars a lot, so I figured why not throw these at South Boston, see how they go.
Well, it's a bit of a flashback, I think, for a lot of people. I mentioned it on the broadcast. South Boston is a track everyone kind of runs it in the Legends when they first get the sim, and maybe in the street stock before they just start doing the big Talladega equivalent of street stocks at Charlotte before they, as they move up. But how does it feel running this place? Because it's a track that, once you get a certain amount of runtime on the sim, you kind of just don't see it in the bigger cars ever.
It surprisingly had a little bit of grip, other than getting loose sometimes, but it was just hard to pass. I feel like the only way you could pass was on the restarts, or if they messed up, you take the outside and pass out there, but other than that, that's about it.
Well, William, before we let you go, thanks again for bringing this event to us, representing both Race of Champions and Sim Racers for Mental Health and the causes there. Tell us a little bit about the cause of Sim Racers for Mental Health.
We were pretty much made, we raise awareness for all sorts, not just mental health. We raise awareness for all sorts of awareness events, like the one that we got coming up on the 24th. We got the Breast Cancer Awareness 250. We got that coming up on the 24th, and then we host other monthly events too. This isn't just one thing. We host it like almost every month. I think we got 1 month off, but pretty much host it once a month.
Well, it's great to hear. Always see good causes coming from some of these simulated motorsports events. And William, before we let you go, who gets it done for that number 6 modified out there?
Got to thank you guys for sponsoring, or not sponsoring, broadcasting the race. Shine MSD for being on the car. Race of Champions sponsoring this event, and everyone watching. Hopefully, it was a good one to watch.
Hey, you're the one who said it, and we'll take the tax write-off, so we don't worry, we're fine, William. But huge thanks to you guys for bringing us on, and we hope to do maybe the next one in the next month or so that you guys put on.
Yeah, thank you.
So there he was. William Kruska is going to round out the interviews for this one here today, and it was an exciting night of action here at South Boston for your Sim Racers for Mental Health Winter Derby presented by Race of Champions. That is going to do it for us here tonight at RaceSpotTV. This was your broadcast group. It was me running cameras and on the microphone. Hugo had to step away last second, so I picked up the production duties. Dennis Foley was supposed to join us, but some technical issues unfortunately ruled him out. But we thank you all for joining us tonight. Tomorrow we have the second round of the Thrustmaster iRacing Rallycross World Championship coming at you from Daytona International Speedway. They're going to be running the short layout. Be sure to watch it. It was a great show last week at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Daytona is going to be equally good as well, I think. But until then, I hope to see you all next time. Bye-bye.